playoff-bound Panthers. Yeah, playoff-bound for sure. I'm willing to bank on that at this point. So coming off a rare loss, the Panthers, they are now 19-6-4 after 29 games. 29 games, 19 wins, points in 23 of 29. That is damn impressive. 2-1 to Nashville. Once again, Florida runs into another hot goaltender. UC Soros, who hadn't played, I think, since like either late February or early March. It had been a while. So, good for him. Stick taps to the goalie. How many of Florida losses this year have they been outplayed? Can you think of any? I mean, the Tampa blowout loss where they got shelled in the second period, but that was a bad period. The loss to Carolina, they kind of got outplayed, but it was still tight for a while. I mean, it's like they've been in every game. It's consistent. It's rolling. That's why I'm confident that this team is for real. They've been so consistent, just rolling it out over and over. Guys in and out of the lineup. It's all good. Hopefully today, yesterday's practice, there was no Huberdeau, there was no Verhage, there was no Achari. Now, Achari, he takes a maintenance day every so often. It's pretty common. So, and he blocked like 4 shots in 4 seconds, whatever it was on that insane 5-on-3 penalty kill the other night. Like, unbelievable effort by Nhl Awards. So hopefully the 3 of them will be in the lineup today. Coach Quenneville said yesterday that they should, or that he hopes they play. However he phrased it, it was like he left it open, which is like, And remember, Huberdeau, he got tangled up late in the third, I believe it was, on the boards in the offensive zone, on the boards across from the benches, the side of the penalty boxes. He got tangled up a little bit in right on the boards and then kind of skated gingerly to the bench. Finished the game, but very possible that, something bothering him. Give him the day off, let him heal up. Verhage, I don't think he'd had a day off all year. And you keep it even with the numbers as well. Take 3 guys out of the lineup. It makes it a little bit easier to just pop in 3 of the taxi guys or whatever. As I believe the top line yesterday. Oh, goodness. I know it was Barkov and Marchment. I'm getting out my notebook here. So I like to get things right on the Chirping the Chats radio show. It was Marchment, Barkov, and Duclair. Okay. And then taking Huberdeau's spot on the second line was a rotation of the soon-to-be AHL-bound Grigory Denisenko and Vinny Hinostroza, who's struggled to crack the lineup this season. Another game where Florida puts up 40 shots on goal. 41 shots. They lead the NHL in shots on goal. The problem, it was the 0 for the 3 on the power play. That's where you've got to bite a team like Nashville, who's got the worst PK in the league, by the way. Florida's issue wasn't when it was getting into the zone. They were definitely trying out some new break-ins, whatever you want to call them, zone entries on the power play. Usually, the way it's worked for at least the first half of the season, I'd say 75 to 80% of their entry efforts, they all come through Barkov and Yandel. Those are the 2 guys that touch the puck out of the defensive zone into the neutral zone and through it. They're always trying to move at speed, but those are the guys that run it. They had Huberdeau handling the puck on Thursday. They had Ekblad handling the puck on Thursday. So it's good that they're, expanding on that. If I'm noticing what they're doing, obviously other teams are picking up on it. So, yeah, it's time to expand on that a bit. So perhaps that played a part in the 0 for 3 on the PP. You heard me mention the shot block fest by Nhl Awards, and one of the things that I love about that is it's obviously play itself. But whenever something cool like that happens, whether it's shot blocking, a big hit, a fight, one of the things that I always do is I instantly look to the bench to see what the reaction is. Because you talk about plays that change the momentum in a game. Like last week, I believe, was it against Chicago? Whenever it was. Last week there was a game when Radko Gudas hit somebody in the second period, just absolutely lit them up, and it turned the whole game on its side, and Florida came storming back, and I'm pretty sure it was the Blackhawks. So you always like to look to the bench and see how the reaction is from the teammates. And when Achari was blocking those shots like that, you would have thought that would have been the turning point of the game. Just the way that everybody got so jacked up. So yeah, the Cats will be back in action today. 2 o'clock start against Nashville. And then they're right back at it tomorrow in Tampa. A 4 o'clock start. So a pretty big 24 hours for the Cats here. Particularly because A, you want to bounce back and get the win today after losing to Nashville. Panthers have not lost consecutive games in regulation. So and keep that streak going. And then tomorrow, it's Tampa. That's the bar. That's the test. So, yeah, big weekend. I'm pumped. I'm excited. You know who else is excited? You heard me last week complaining about Panthers not getting much attention. National media, like, yeah, I get it, except for the fact that they're damn good. Well, that's changed. Panthers are creeping up on the power rankings around the media, different power rankings. In fact, they topped a fairly big power ranking this past week. ESPN, the new old home of the NHL. You will hear the theme when we go around the pond later, as you have been hearing every week, because it's awesome, and now it's coming back. And we're very happy about that. So ESPN put out their new power ranking, and guess who was at the top? That's right, your Florida Panthers. Numero uno. Moved up from 5 to 1. I mean, it's nice. But like, just looking at these rankings, yeah, they might as well be the Discover Central Division rankings, because it's Florida number 1, Carolina number 2, Tampa number 3, and then the rest of the league. I have to laugh because one of the complaints I guess I've heard from some fans this year is, well, of course the year we're good, we have to be in the best of it. Yeah, but so what? Because if it was just another year in this division, you're fighting for table scraps just to get into a playoff that you're probably not going to do anything in. How do you think Chicago and Columbus and Nashville and Dallas, all these teams trying to fight for one spot, trying to squeak into that 4th spot, and then they look up and they see these 3 juggernaut teams that are rolling over the league: Florida, Carolina, Tampa. Usually it's the Panthers looking up at the juggernaut teams, trying to get into the dance just to have a chance, just to have a seat at the table. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but let's just focus on the team. If the team's doing what they're supposed to do, everything else is going to work itself out. If the team is playing well, if they don't have to rely on matchups and they don't have to rely on hot players, which they haven't all year, that's why I'm excited about this team, because it doesn't matter who they're playing. They play the same way. Very aggressive. Hang on to the puck as long as you can. So, yeah. Cats 6-2-1, or 6-2-0, excuse me, their last 8 games. Just rolling right along. Winning games that they're supposed to, right? And yeah, I realize that might sound a little disingenuous, maybe not the right word, but coming off of a loss to Nashville. But if you look at the bottom teams in that division, Chicago, Columbus, Jesus. Chicago, Columbus, Nashville, Detroit, Dallas. The teams below Florida and Carolina and Tampa in the division. Against those 5 teams, the Panthers are 16-4-2. Okay? So, yeah, I know everybody wants that to be 22-0-0, of course. But that's beating teams you're supposed to beat. That's the kind of record you need against the teams below you in the standings. 12 games above 500 after 22. 16-4-2. That is damn good. They've won the 2-game series that everybody says is going to be hard to take 2 straight against the same team. They've won back-to-back sets already against Chicago, Columbus, Nashville. Now, looking ahead, the rest of the way, they have 5 games left against Tampa and 4 games left against Carolina. So, a third of their games, basically, 9 out of 28, are against those 2 teams. So just looking at the first half, if they can go 16-4-2 again, if they can put up similar numbers against the teams below them in the standings, it's just going to come down to assuming Tampa and Carolina also take care of their business. It's just going to come down to those head-to-head games as to how the top 3 shakes out. It is absolutely feasible that the Panthers can win this division. 100%. There for the taking, if they can. And games like tomorrow, the head-to-head against Tampa, the first of 5 meetings against the Lightning between now and the end of the regular season. That's how it's gonna shake out. That's what's gonna be making that decision. So far, the Panthers are 3-2-2 combined against Tampa and Carolina. They're 2-1 against Tampa, and then in Carolina, 1-1-2. It looks a lot better because Carolina, I believe, is 3-0-1 against the Panthers. But either way, the Panthers have squeaked out points in 3 out of 4 of Carolina. And then, I'm thinking now in terms of playoffs, right? So, in 3 out of the 4 games against Carolina, they've gone to overtime. That sounds like a hell of a playoff series. The only other one was a 4-2, I believe it was a 4-2 final recently, if I'm not mistaken. The one, yeah, it was during the last road trip. So, competitive games. Carolina's a team, they are so much like the Panthers. They're a fast team. They've got a lot of skill up front. They've got some very solid defenders. I don't think they've got the goaltending that Florida has. That could be the wild card. But Carolina, a little younger, a little faster maybe. Florida's got a little bit more grit perhaps. But Carolina, they've got Mr. Playoff, Dougie Hamilton. So, God, I just feel like it's an inevitable playoff series. And I'm excited for it. I think it'll be fun. Would I rather them win the division and then get a playoff series against, Chicago or Columbus or Nashville or Dallas or whoever ends up getting hot in the second half and jumping up to that 4th spot? I mean, yeah, but, as I just said, usually the team that gets that last playoff spot is whoever's the hottest at the end of the season. It's not often that a team backs in, loses a few straight, but has nobody challenging them. It doesn't often happen that way. So odds are whoever does get that last spot will probably be playing fairly well heading into that first-round playoff series. Looking at the Panthers' schedule at the end of the season, their last game is at home against Tampa. Whether or not that's got any big standings implications, we'll see. Their last 2 games against Carolina are like game 7 and 8 before the end of the schedule. It's Carolina, at Nashville, at Chicago, then home versus Dallas, home versus Tampa. That's how the schedule rounds out. A week before those 2 games against Carolina, Florida has 2 at Tampa. So, I mean, we'll see. My point is, I'm not just discounting the Panthers aren't going to be there fighting for the top of this division. Right now, Florida, Tampa, and Carolina, they've all played the same amount of games. They've all played 29 games, so 1 game on the second half of the season. And they're separated by 2 points. Tampa's won one game more than Florida. Tampa, 21-6-2. Oh, no, pardon me. Tampa's won 2 more games than Florida. They've won 1 more than Carolina. Tampa's 21-6-2. Carolina's 27-2. Florida's 19-6-4. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And I mean, really, come on. How can you not be enjoying this? This is a great season. And not only, as we're going to get ready to hit the break here in a second, not only is it a great season for the Panthers, but it's not like an anomaly season. It's not like a they got hot out of nowhere type season. Like, no, this is a season where they're good, and you can see why they're going to be good for a while. Onside Radio enters Kai's Corner with Kai Chen Chisholm every day from 10 a.m. to noon. Join Kai as he discusses the biggest stories in South Florida sports. Tune in every day from 10 a.m. to noon for Kai's Corner on the home of South Florida Sports Talk, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Chirping the Cats Radio with David Dwork. Take Onside Radio, your home for soccer everywhere, with a MyTuner radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty, to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
He has an overbite that makes him look like a cartoon character, a slightly crooked eye, and an uncommonly wrinkly neck. In the right light, he can look a little like a garden gnome, and he'll wear a bow tie just because. Sure, you might call him a little quirky, but that's exactly what makes him so perfect. Tuna is a 3-year-old Chihuahua Dachshund mix with more than 700,000 followers on Instagram, and it all started because he was adopted. You can't buy a best friend like Tuna, but you can adopt one. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
If you missed Onside Zone with Big O, you missed.
She's kind of young, so I don't know. She may not be into Van Halen much. Let's see. Hey, Ruthie, good afternoon. Are you a Van Halen fan?
You know, I just had to Google Van Halen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just literally have it on my computer right now.
The Onside Zone with Big O. Weekdays 11 to 1 p.m. Only on OnsideRadio.com.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Join the Inter Miami family in 2021 by becoming a 2021 season ticket member. Enjoy enhanced access benefits and pricing not available to general fans. Visit intermiamicf.com/tickets for more information.
Welcome back to Chirping the Cats Radio. To reach out to David, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Here's Florida Panthers insider David Dwork.
Onside Radio is on the move. Take this in your car, on a jog, or a skate. Listen at work, anywhere you go. Take a bike ride. All you got to do is download the radio.net app. Go to your app store, download, and search Onside Radio, South Florida's sports station. Getting back You guys, I don't know if you know this, but there's a YouTube stream of the show as well. You can check it out. I just opened it up on the old laptop here, looking pretty sharp. Got my my Keith Yandel 1000 game T-shirt, a big Sonk shirt. Pretty nice, actually. Pretty nice. So, one thing I wanted to get to today, a couple of things I wanted to get to today. Brett Connolly. He hasn't played in nearly a month. His last game was February 27th. He was moved to the taxi squad March 1st after clearing waivers, and he has been there ever since. And something's gonna change. Like, if there's not a spot for him on the team, that's fine. They're playing well. I'm not gonna argue that point. But the fact remains, he still has 2 years left at $3.5 million per year. So, how does a trade work? Florida doesn't have to eat some of that salary, you'd think, or take somebody back in the trade that maybe. I mean, you think about best case scenario. The Patrick Hornquist, Mike Matheson trade. That's your best case scenario. That's getting rid of a contract you don't want and taking a contract somebody else doesn't want. But it's so mutually beneficial. I mean, you know, I know Matheson's been playing in Pittsburgh. You hope that it's going well for him there. But obviously it's working out well down here with Hornquist. I mean, Connolly can still play. And there's going to be teams that could use depth at forward. 100%. So I think it's not a matter of if, but when he gets moved is just my guess. Now, would Zito and the Panthers want to keep him around as perhaps an insurance policy in case there's injuries? Yeah, possibly. But a $3.5 million a year is a really expensive insurance policy when you could get the same kind of production for a lot less. So, we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out, right? Owen Tippett. Is he turning a corner right now? Possibly. He had a 4-game point streak over the last couple weeks. That was snapped Thursday. But still, in his last 5 games, he now has 4 points, 14 shots on goal, and a +1 rating. Now, keep those numbers in mind, okay? 5 games, 4 points, 14 shots. Okay? Now, in his previous 14 games, he only had 3 points and 17 shots. Big difference. Big difference in the way Owen Tippett has been playing. You're noticing him a lot more, aren't you? Because he's holding on to the puck a little bit more. He's playing with a little bit more confidence. One thing that he's been doing really well for himself is just getting that little extra space to get off his shot. And I think he's also just looking to get it off quicker, which is something I think everybody across the board. The faster you can get the puck on the goalie, even if it's not as hard as you'd like it to be, just get it there. The less time you give a goaltender to get ready, the better shape you're going to be. So I talked about the confidence that Tippett is showing. That's the key, I think, with Owen Tippett, with most young players, is growing that confidence. And you're finally starting to see it with Tippett. Something that he's doing a lot better, I mentioned that he's holding onto the puck more. He's carrying it through the neutral zone, which is nice because it allows him to facilitate the play. It allows him to dictate. Be in charge. I mean, he's a guy that's been an alpha throughout his hockey career. So now he gets to the NHL, it's a little harder to play that role. Unless you're like a Sasha Barkov and just come right into the lead. Or Jonathan Huberdeau step in and win the Calder Trophy. Aaron Ekblad, 18-year-old. Those are very few and far between. So Tippett perhaps becoming an everyday player? We'll see. I think he's earned at least a couple more games before Q shuffles him out. But, I mean, we'll see what happens today because you heard me mention earlier that there's still a question mark between Huberto Verhage and Achari, I suppose, although I think less for him. So if all three of those guys are in the lineup, does Q make a move? Does he bring back Lombard or Hinestroza? Perhaps. Looking at some of the combinations lately. I mean, I don't know. Q seems to like to have that option to move Marchment and Duclair off and on the first line, depending on the pace of the game. But suddenly, with Duclair back, with Tippett playing well, it pushes everything down a little bit further. Now it's going to be harder for guys like Ryan Lombard and Vinny Hinestroza to get in the lineup. And for Connolly, yeah, it's tough. Juho Lammikko has been playing well. He's earned his spot. You're not questioning anybody in the top six, regardless of whether it's Marchment or Duclair on that top line. Both of them have earned their spots in the lineup. Marchment, I gotta say, like, for a younger guy, like, he's tenacious with his forecheck. And he's also very responsible with his back check. Like, he's noticeable in both ends of the ice, which I think that's so key with the younger players. I mean, noticing them at all is step one, which is the problem we've had with Denisenko and a problem that we had been having with Owen Tippett until recently. But now he's showing up. Marchment, he's shown up from day one. You notice him in all three zones, and you're not getting mad at him for you're not noticing him for the wrong reasons either. So yeah, earn their spots. So we'll see what changes could Q make today. I don't know. If everybody's healthy, I don't know. You're not healthy scratching Duclair. You might get upset about his defense, but you're not healthy scratching him. You're going to put him on the fourth line. No, I take that. It's not his defense. It's the turnovers. He doesn't hold on to the puck long enough. He's trying to make a play. He gets a little flustered. It's a problem that a few of the guys have. You notice it more because it's only here and there, and it's only a couple of guys. A guy who I've noticed it fairly recently a bit more is actually Mackenzie Wieger. He does appear to get a little flustered with the puck sometimes, and whether it causes him to turn it over, he's shot it over the glass a few times recently. I mean, Wieger is really good. Like, don't get it twisted. Mackenzie Wieger is an excellent, excellent player. He deserves to be on that top pairing. He's having a remarkable season. I believe I think he's up to 16 even strength assists now. But yeah, that's kind of the name of the game with Coach Q, hanging on to the puck. And when you're talking about Anthony Duclair, it is just that carelessness with the puck in the D zone that's really hurting him. Well, and it's not just in the D zone either, because he has turned it over a couple of times in the offensive end. But at the end of the day, his problems will be solved if he just can control it a little bit longer. Hang on to the puck. If you don't have a play, eat it. Not literally, obviously, but no, just instead of making a pass across the ice or trying to throw it back into the slot, just turn it, put it on your backhand, go towards the boards. Let your teammates do some work. You can't use his speed if you don't have possession. And he needs to be using that speed every single shift. And he needs to force the opponent to mark him every time he's on the ice. He's that good. He just needs, the consistency's got to be there. On the other side, we'll get into my chirp of the week. I've got a good chirp this week. I'm not angry. It's a happy chirp. And we'll also go around the pond and take a look not only at the top-heavy Central Division, but also some NHL awards might be making their way south this year. Some Panthers personnel, players, perhaps not just the player, on that list. So we'll hit that on the other side. Hey, do I have your attention? Catch a South Florida sports staple every afternoon as Alex Dono, my good friend Alex Dono, hosts Man of the Match, 3 to 6 p.m. Dono covers everything from football to MMA. We talk hockey. Tune in to one of the most complete sports shows in the country with the Man of the Match with Alex Dono, 3 to 6 p.m. exclusively on OnSideRadio.com.
You're listening to Chirping the Cats Radio with David Dwork. Take Onside Radio, your home for soccer everywhere, with a MyTuner radio app. Find the app at OnSideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
Hey, it's Big O for EJD Construction, your custom home builder, additions and home remodeling. Our lives have changed. We're making our homes more of an oasis. Call the right place. Call the right people. Eric at EJD Construction for over 16 years. A-rated member of Angie's List in the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
There are those who dedicate themselves to a sense of honor, to a life of courage, and a commitment to something greater than themselves. They have always defended this nation and each other. They still do. The few, the proud, the Marines.
If you missed one-on-one on Sunday, you missed this.
The character over talent kind of perspective. Sometimes, you kind of do have to deal with not necessarily a headache of a player, but you do have to deal with a certain type of player to get a certain type of production,
A player who needs to be managed.
Mm-hmm.
It's much like that child you were, and I was that kid in elementary school where, I did my work, but after I did my work, I caused trouble. I was a little bit of a challenge to teach, and some teachers didn't want me in their class. That doesn't mean that I wasn't talented. That doesn't mean that I wasn't smart. That doesn't mean that I wasn't going to be somebody. That doesn't mean that I wasn't going to be a heavy contributor to the school or, whatever it was. But, hey, I just needed a little bit more coaching than some of the other people did.
One-on-one, every Sunday morning from 9 to 11, only at OnSideRadio.com.
With Make-A-Wish, the impossible becomes possible. A girl battling cancer can become a race car driver battling the course. The boy showing all the nurses his fire trucks can take the helm of a real one. Wishes can give kids with critical illnesses the strength to keep fighting, get better, and grow up.
Where there's a wish, there's a way.
Wishes need you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that split second, her life changes forever. The toll of breast cancer is great. The need to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime. United by hope, we can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
Welcome back to Chirping the Cats Radio. To reach out to David, send a text to 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Here's David Dwork.
Rocking and rolling, it's Chirping the Cats Radio. Coming to you live from Inter Miami CF Stadium. Soccer season just around the corner. And coming up after Chirping the Cats Radio, it'll be Austin Robillard and Red Card Radio with all of your football needs and topics. And just between you and me, today's Austin's 21st birthday. Yeah, I got him a couple little presents. So don't tell him. We'll surprise him during crosstalk. You know what else we're going to do today? As I look over to my man Abel on the other side to see if I get the thumbs up. Are we ready? Okay, well, I think it's time for a happy edition of the Chirp of the Week. So,
hey, son, you're a disappointment to your parents. What are you doing? Working on my trash talk.
It's time for the Chirp of the Week.
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it. You can pick the hand I beat the out of you with. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I don't think so. That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
That's so funny. Last time I heard that, I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
Yeah, so I got a happy chirp this week, and it's how much I like Chris Driedger's retro throwback gear, which will debut today. The Panthers will be wearing their reverse retro uniforms, and Driedger will be wearing his brand new throwback gear, and he'll be in goal. So it's not like he'll be wearing it and just chilling on the bench. So, yeah, that's a little extra goalie nerd bonus excitement for me, which is awesome. Now, I talked to Driedger about the gear earlier this week, and he said initially the plan was that this stuff was just going to be for the reverse retros, which makes sense. You know, there's a few goalies around the league that have special gear to match the reverse retros. However, as some of Driedger's teammates pointed out to him, his reverse retro gear, the colors still match the team colors that are in the jerseys, the normal jerseys. So there's been some lobbying for him to wear them more often. Now, I have not gotten a concrete answer from Driedger yet, but he said that it's up in the air. So at least we'll see them 2 or 3 more times, hopefully more, because they're really nice. The throwback look is just nice, and what's cool about these, so the reverse retros are a throwback to the Panthers' inaugural jerseys, and Driedger's pads look identical to the pads worn by John Van Beesbroek in the inaugural season, which is really cool. Driedger did not mean to do that, as he admitted, but it worked out really cool, and I actually I sent a picture of Driedger's pads to Beezer, and I asked him, what do you think compared to yours? And he said the first thing I thought of was their classics. He used that word a couple of times, classics. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, if you want to read all about Driedger's gear and Beezer's thoughts on Driedger's gear, I did post the full story on my Twitter account at David Dwork, or you can check it out at local10.com, where my writing goes. Something else that Driedger said, which, I think is pretty cool. He's had a new helmet that's coming soon. And it'll be basically his second half of the season helmet. And couldn't tell me much. He kept it kind of secretive, which can respect that. I like the anticipation build. He said that some of his teammates will be making celebrity appearances on his helmet, which, just without knowing who or what or whatever, I think it's pretty cool to kind of have a tribute to your teammates like that. That's a nice touch by Driedger. And that he said that helmet could be arriving any day, so who knows? I mean, I guess if it arrived yesterday, he could wear it today if he wants to. But either way, we should be seeing it soon. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, moving on.
Hold it right there. Put the brakes. You said moving on. Before you move on, I have a question, because you're the expert.
All right, let's go.
You're the expert, and you definitely know way more about this subject than I do. I got exposed to hockey when I was living in Massachusetts.
Okay.
And please, Floridians, don't kill me, because I am from Miami. I am from Dade County, representing Wynwood, so don't kill me when I say this. But who actually got me started was the Bruins, when they was going on their big runs back in the early 2000s, late 90s, 99. And I really got into hockey. So when I came back home, that was during the Rat year, the Van Beesbroek year. I was really into it at that time. Now today, we have new jerseys. We have the number one team almost in the league. So my question is, why do you think there's not much excitement for fans like myself? I mean, I'm excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited. But a lot of casual fans that I do know are not as excited as I am.
Well, this is South Florida, and South Florida is a town that follows winners, and the Panthers have not done much winning for a long time. So one good season here or there isn't really going to move the needle for the Panthers. They've done it before, and no. For the casual fans in South Florida to really get excited, it's going to take a playoff chase, and then it's going to take some sustained winning. You almost had that at the very beginning, back in the mid-'90s, when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 1996, and the next year they made the playoffs, and there was excitement, and the building was packed every night. They were on the front page of the newspapers. They were getting covered by all the local newspapers, and it kind of blew up. Since then, they haven't had a consecutive playoff seasons, not once. They haven't won a playoff round since 1996. So the casual sports fan has really no reason to follow the Panthers. It's just, unfortunately, it is what it is. The year they're having now and the sustainable success that I'm expecting, I think will start to turn things around. I hope that this season will give them some kind of a playoff run. You know, they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough at the beginning because they're going to have to go against either Tampa or Carolina, if not both. But this is a good team. And I'm hoping that as it's sustainable and as they continue on, that the casual sports fans will start paying attention, because it's going to be more in the newspapers. It's going to be more on your local news every day. And when it's a winning team, when you've got something other people want, then suddenly it's something fun that you're happy to talk about. Does that answer your question, Abel?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, it does make sense. Winning cures all. Winning cures all, and you're right. Do you want my attention? Be a winner. If I'm that casual, yeah, you go in for a day or so, but if you want to keep my attention, keep winning. But they're actually doing that, and that's my surprise. They're doing that, and I feel there's a bigger buzz about the Panthers than outside of the state than there is within the state.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That the national hockey media is starting slowly but surely to pay attention, and just the hockey fan. Like, you can't not notice when a team is playing this well and in the division that they're doing it. And speaking of the division, are we ready to go around the pond? All right, let's hit it.
Lace up your skates. It's time to go around the pond on Chirping the Cats Radio.
All right, so the Central Division brought to you by Discover Card. And I jest about the sponsorships this year, but as I've said, I love the sponsorships, the helmet stickers, all that crap, because that's why we have hockey this year. So, yay. I'll wear a sticker on my forehead during this radio show if it helps keep hockey going on. So, yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but Tampa, Florida, and Carolina are putting distance between themselves and the rest of the division. Tampa on the top with 44 points, Florida and Carolina tied right below them with 42 points. Florida and Carolina 9 points ahead of fourth place Chicago, 11 points ahead of fifth place Columbus, with games in hand on both of them. Florida, Tampa, and Carolina have all played 29 games. The teams below them, Chicago and Columbus, with 31 games. So it's a good spot for those teams to be in, and they're just going to keep rolling, I would expect. And yeah, like I said earlier, it's going to come down to who's going to fight for that last playoff spot. The right to play whoever ends up at the top of this division. And really, you got to be scared of whoever it is. I mean, you're scared of Tampa because it's Tampa. On top of the fact that they're probably going to get Nikita Kucherov back for the playoffs, which is like, rich get richer. But whatever. That's the team they've built. Good on them. Carolina's going to get their starting goaltender, Peter Mrazek, back any time now, I believe. He's getting close. He's been getting close for a couple weeks. But they've been getting good goalies from Alexander Nedeljkovic, former AHL standout goaltender. He's been outplaying James Reimer lately. So yeah, I'm really curious to see who kind of emerges from that second tier, because right now it's just Chicago and Columbus. And good on Columbus. They've actually closed the gap on Chicago. I think Dallas could make some noise because they've got some games to make up, and they've obviously got a good team. They went to the Stanley Cup final last year. Ben Bishop should be back, I think, early April, if I'm not mistaken. Although they've also been getting good goaltending from Jake Ottinger. So, yeah, I don't know what the problem is with Dallas, to be honest. Oof, that's tough. Another thing that I wanted to touch on today, the NHL Awards. There are several Panthers players that are being discussed for NHL Awards this year. Legitimate. The one that is just nice to hear, although it's probably not going to happen, is Barkov in the Hart Trophy conversation. Just the fact that he's in that discussion is great. Barkov would be competing with the likes of Connor McDavid, Patrick Kane, who, McDavid is on another planet. But, I mean, Barkov, right now, 29 games, he's got 34 points. Very possibly the most complete player in the NHL. So you got Barkov for the Hart Trophy. Ekblad for Norris. Obviously, it's one that we've been picking up a little steam on social media and having fun with that. Victor Hedman is probably going to win that because he's just the best defenseman in the league. He's a great defender. He does everything offensively that you'd ask to someone and more. But Ekblad, 20 points in 29 games. He's got the +5 rating. One great example last week when they were playing Chicago, he had a couple one-on-ones with Patrick Kane and shut him down. Where it's Kane barreling down with the puck, Ekblad the only guy back, and both times, nothing for Kane. So Ekblad, awesome. Barkov in the Selke conversation. That is very, very possible this year. I think he finally could get over the Selke hump. That's the award that goes to the best defensive forward in the league. Defensive awareness, play reading ability. For Barkov, we all know it's on another level. He's just as elite in his own zone as he is in the defensive zone. And the part of that, the expected plus-minus, which is expected goals for and then expected goals against, the average of that, Barkov's is at 11.8. When you compare it to the guys he's going to be competing with for the Selke, Kopitar, Stone, Bergeron, Eriksson Ek in Minnesota, not even close. Of those four that I mentioned, the highest is Eriksson Ek at 4.8 and Stone at 4.7. And Barkov, as I said, 11.8. Expected goals for minus expected goals against. And then the last thing I'll mention before we hit the break is head coach Joel Quenneville for the Jack Adams. That's one that I think is a pretty good option as well, because you think of like Dean Evanson in Minnesota, Barry Trotz in the Island, Jeremy Colleton in Chicago are the other contenders. But, I mean, nobody saw the Panthers doing what they're doing this year, and you got to think Coach Q is the favorite for the Jack Adams. Going to hit the break. On the other side, we'll do some crosstalk with Austin Robillard as Red Card Radio comes up next.
You're listening to Chirping the Cats Radio with David Dwork. Take Onside Radio, your home for soccer everywhere, with a MyTuner radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com. South Florida's home for real sports talk.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. When you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org to learn more.
My daughter Brinley is here at St. Jude. Coming here was literally life or death, and it was so scary. But St. Jude is fighting for one goal, like this one mission, life. And that gave us hope. We haven't received a single bill from St. Jude, so I really can just focus on what's best for Brinley.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Onside Radio continues to grow to make your life easier. You can now find your favorite sports station by downloading the Radio FM app and listen to your favorite OnsideRadio.com host or catch a great Inter-Miami CF match. Go to your app store, download Radio FM, and search Onside Radio, the home for the South Florida sports fan.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that. Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
A message to help keep you safe. If doctors told us today that we'd made a breakthrough on COVID-19, saving thousands of lives, we would rejoice. Finally, a good news day. We'd feel less afraid that our loved ones would be struck by the invisible enemy. We'd start to feel hope that we could live our lives again. Well, a mask does all that. We can help protect others by covering our noses and mouths, which is how the virus mainly spreads. Masks are a ticket to freedom, to be out in the world, to getting together, back to work, back to doing what we want. If doctors announced we could save lives today, we would grab that breakthrough with both hands. While we wait for a vaccine, grab the breakthrough that's already here. When we're out, it's masks on.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
These are unprecedented times, challenging how the YMCA works to strengthen community as we have for nearly 170 years. But we've always found ways to help people and communities in times of crisis. Right now, Ys across the country are providing emergency childcare, shelter, food programs, and outreach to seniors. But we can't do it alone. Whether you're connected to the Y or have a fond Y memory, we need you to stay with us. Reach out to your local Y today and stay with us for a better us.
Welcome back to Chirping the Cats Radio. To reach out to David, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Here's Florida Panthers insider David Dwork.
All right, back here, Chirping the Cats Radio, wrapping up another great edition Saturday morning hockey talk. Remember, Panthers coming up today at 2 o'clock. So we're going to see if Austin Robillard is here with us today for a crosstalk. Austin, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. There he
Nice.
is. Austin Robillard, Red Card Radio host and birthday boy.
Yes.
I didn't know you weren't coming in. I have a couple little gifts for you today, so we're going to have to do this next week now.
Oh, man. I have a pretty bad little eye infection going on, which is kind of unfortunate. My eyes almost shut. So it's not great for me to be driving or going outside or anything. So that's why I'm not there. But next Saturday, hopefully I'm better, and I would love to say what's up and receive those. Appreciate it, man.
You know, I feel for you, but there's part of me that thinks that this is all just BS and you're coming to me live from a bar somewhere. Like, you're surrounded by like five friends that are trying to be quiet as they shove pints under your nose. That's kind of what I expect. There's like
It'd be a lot
games
better
on.
story, trust me. If you want to run with that one, we definitely can. It sounds a lot better. Unfortunately, it's not the truth, but hey, let's run with it. Why not?
Fair enough. All right, so I've been trying to keep up with some of the soccer headlines right now. Looks like Southampton is heading to the FA Cup semifinals, and there's a lot of games going on today. What are you keeping track of?
I watched a little bit of the Southampton game this morning. Pretty good goal from Redmond. The second goal was really nice, but they had a convincing win. It's going to be tough in the semifinal. They'll play a tougher team, whether it's Everton or Man City who play today, or you have tomorrow. You have I believe you have Chelsea and Sheffield United and Leicester and Manchester United in the other quarterfinal games. So it'll be tough for them, but all these other teams, it's getting down to the wire in this competition. So semifinals are always going to be tougher than quarterfinals, which are tougher than, how that goes. Also keeping an eye on the Bundesliga, we have Bayern Munich taking control, up 3-0. Lewandowski just became second all time on the Bundesliga goals list. You have two Americans starting today for Dortmund and for Werder Bremen. Unfortunately, Josh Sargent, who plays for Werder Bremen, had an own goal, scored on the wrong side. But hey, a goal's a goal. If you want to look at it, glass half full, he scored as a striker. It just went the wrong way.
So as far as local soccer, what's going on with Inter Miami? I saw you tweeted out last week your prediction for how not just the starting 11, but the depth chart's going to roll out as well.
Yeah, so there was another signing kind of announced in Kieran Gibbs, and only ESPN has reported it from their sources, so it's giving me, I'm a little skeptical about it. I'm going to talk about it later on in my show today. But honestly, after making that list and making the depth chart positionally and looking at everything, it's not as deep as we were last year, but the first team quality looks to be really good. Like the starting 11, I am okay with it. I'm happy with it. I think it has the potential to be a really good MLS side. I think playoffs, nothing less, are my expectations. I don't know what we'll do when we get there because the team still has